everybody, it's me, Jay, and I'm back to talk about Kyuranger. This time it's episode 5, The 9 Ultimate Saviors. So after the recap, we see the team arguing about Stinger, trying to figure out what they should do about him. Raptor asks Lucky, who's not involved in the argument, what they should do, but Lucky's found himself in a bit of a slump after all those people screamed and yelled at them for trying to help last week. He eventually decides that worrying about it isn't important and says that he wants to head down to Earth to check things out. Rambo agrees, and we get another song and dance number to the annoyance of the Kyurangers, although this time it's far shorter, and then he spins the Q-let, selecting Lucky, Spada, Hammy, Naga, and Champ. Lucky catchphrases, and we then cut to Yumapak roaming the streets, knocking things over in a fit of rage when Aerodron and Stinger suddenly arrive. Aerodron gives Yumapaku a mission to destroy all the Kyurangers. He accepts, and Aerodron turns to Stinger and tells them that they've found the 8th Kyuranger. Stinger says he's part of Dark Matter, which means that the Kyurangers are his enemy, and we cut to the opening. Afterwards, we cut to Yumapaku and again terrorizing some civilians and calling out the Kyurangers. They arrive and they get ready to fight, but Yumapaku suddenly starts getting pelted by rocks by 2 kids that come out of nowhere who start yelling at him to stop hurting the adults and to leave Earth. Unsurprisingly, he sends his mooks after them, but the Kyurangers step in to protect them. Lucky gets the kids to safety and they introduce each other, and we cut back to the Kyurangers fighting. During the fight, Lucky corners Yumapaku and blasts the wall behind him, which collapses and crushes him. Lucky catchphrases, but Yumapaku is still alive, and he decides he's had enough and runs away. We cut to a little later, and the 2 kids from earlier, Kotaro, the older, and Jiro, the younger, are thanking the Kyurangers for their help, and Lucky thanks them too. Kotaro tells them that since all the adults are useless, they've decided they'll fight Dark Matter to protect them all, and that they'll liberate the Earth. Lucky encourages them, saying that so long as they believe they can and have the Kyurangers with them, they can do it. However, the touching moment is abruptly cut short as Aerodron and Stinger arrive. They transform as Aerodron charges at them, but like the last time they fought, the fight is incredibly one-sided as Aerodron manages to knock all the Kyurangers aside, forcibly de-transforming them. As Aerodron approaches for the finishing blow, the 2 kids come back and start hitting him with rocks, but Aerodron's not amused at all and tells Stinger to just kill them. Stinger simply grabs the kids with his tail and takes them hostage, saying it'd be easier to kill all 8 Kyurangers at the same time, and tells them if they want to see the kids alive, they'll bring all the Kyutama with them. As they retreat, Lucky shouts to Stinger, saying he still believes he can be one of the Kyurangers. They return to the Orion, and Champ begins to say how he was right in not trusting Stinger, but Lucky still disagrees and says that he still believes in him. He gives the reason that if he was really on Dark Matter's side, he wouldn't have bothered to save the kids, deciding that everything really doesn't add up in this situation, and he declares that he'll save those kids and once again try to make Stinger a member of the team. We then cut to the 2 kids in a holding still as Stinger arrives and gives them some bread. They don't trust it, but he ensures it's not poisoned, and they decide to start eating. Kotaro asks what they're planning on doing with them, but Aerodron suddenly arrives and says it doesn't really matter since they're going to die regardless of whether the Kyurangers show up or not. Jiro begins to cry and Kotaro starts to comfort him, which causes Stinger to have a flashback to a similar situation with him and his older brother. During the flashback, we see Stinger's older brother give him that necklace we saw Stinger carrying around in his debut, saying for him to think of it as part of him and that they'll always be together. As the flashback ends, Stinger tells him that it's nice to see, and tells Kotaro to take good care of his little brother. Aerodron simply says it's foolish and that the weak will only face death, but Stinger again just insists that they're important hostages. He turns to ask Aerodron if he knows a man named Scorpio. Aerodron describes him as Dark Matter's greatest assassin and asks Stinger how he knows that name, Stinger responding that he was his brother. He then has another flashback to when Dark Matter destroyed his village. We see Stinger fighting as he collapses to the ground, surrounded in flames, and asks his brother, who is standing with a group of Dark Matter mooks, why he betrayed them all. Scorpio simply smirks and walks off towards the Dark Matter ship as the flashback ends. Stinger tells Aerodron that he's been looking for him, then he wants to know where he is, but Aerodron tells him that unfortunately the only one who knows where he actually is Darn Armage. After a break, we return back to the planet's surface with Stinger, Aerodron, and a squadron of mooks in possession of the kids as the 8 Kyurangers arrive. Lucky demands they hand the kids over, but Stinger says for them to just hand over the Kyutama first. The team begrudgingly agrees and tosses them towards Stinger, but unsurprisingly Aerodron then blasts them, calling them naive. Aerodron tells Stinger to once again kill the kids, to make an example of them, but Stinger refuses, saying he won't kill kids. In response, Aerodron backhands him and starts beating him up, saying that terror beyond reproach is needed to unify the galaxy. Aerodron rips off the chains that were holding the kids and prepares to kill them, but Stinger blocks his staff with his tail. Aerodron asks if Stinger's betraying him, but he gets sucker punched, and Stinger says that Aerodron just pissed him off, and then he tosses the Kyutama back to the Kyurangers. They run over to Stinger, and Lucky catchphrases, saying that he always believed in him. Stinger says this isn't luck at all, and that he wasn't really helping them, but he does tell them that he's actually a spy working for the rebellion. This surprises the team, and Rambo calls him up, saying that he's sorry he forgot to tell them all about that part, to the annoyance of everyone. Stinger tells the kids that they did a good job hanging in and they should get out of there, as they think Stinger and the Kyurangers. As they run off, Lucky tells Champ, "I told you so," and Stinger says he has no real excuse and he just does what he thinks is right. This starts to piss off Champ, who says just shut the hell up so they can transform and fight already. The 9 of them transform and they charge into battle as we get a badass insert song sung by Psychic Lover, which just perfect. During the fight, we see Yuma Pakun, who was there the whole time, I guess, trying to eat Lucky's dreams. But Lucky's dream, which, as we already established, was to defeat Dark Matter and save the universe, is too big for him and he bursts and explodes. As they finish wiping out the mooks, Naga sees all the people from last week and the 2 kids watching them fight. And Lucky figures that seeing them fight will help inspire them to take on Dark Matter as well. Arajon comes back and says that he'll just crush that hope as the Kyurangers charge him and begin their attack. With all 9 Kyurangers assembled, Arajon is no match for them, and they manage to disarm him and damage him pretty badly. The 9 of them surround him and Lucky catchphrases as they hit him with the All-Star Crash again, nearly killing him and leaving a giant star burned into the ground. However, the ground collapses and one of the Dark Matter ships bursts out as Arajon retreats. Kyurangers summon their Voyagers and chase him, but Yuma Pakun suddenly grows to giant size. The team splits up and Lucky, Spada, Balance, Naga, and Raptor form up Q-Reno and begin their fight. The fight's over quickly as Yuma Pakun barely puts up any effort and they quickly finish him off, breaking apart and then rejoining the others in space, who have been attacking Arajon's flagship. They fly around for a little bit, blasting the hell out of him before they reform Q-Reno with the guys who didn't get to be part of it earlier. As Arajon goes to ram them, Stinger and Champ start carving up his ship with giant laser beams, and Q-Reno and the other Voyagers band together to use a super meteor break to destroy Arajon and his ship, as all the kids and the people on Earth cheer them on. Q-Rangers return to the ship, stand Stinger, and Rambo asks where he is, Naga saying that he's decided to act alone. Stinger calls them and tells them all what Don Armage had told him previously about the Earth's secret, so he'll stay on the surface to investigate. Lucky says that now that he knows that the people of Earth have the will to fight, they'll stay and liberate it, with the rest of the team agreeing. Lucky catchphrases and they all go for another one of those 1, 2, 3 mood chants as the episode ends with Rambo staring at the Earth saying the real fight begins now. Aside from a couple of things, this episode was really good. I'm kinda upset that Arajon is already dead. Like I said, his voice and suit were way too good to get rid of so early, so I'm hoping that either the next guys who replace him are just as good, or he gets brought back later. Similarly, I'm kind of annoyed that Stinger's already joined the heroes. I kind of wish he was a bad guy a little longer, plus the reveal about him being a spy is a little annoying and just out of left field, but I can at least understand why Rambo never told them he was a spy, since, Lucky's the kind of idiot who would blow his cover basically every chance he got. I think Stinger's backstory is, while unoriginal, kinda neat, and I hope his brother Scorpio shows up again as a recurring villain, a la Juzo from Shinkenger or Basco from Gokaiger. The fact that he has the same actor as that glorious Slaughtermelon Takatora helps with that idea. Those 2 child actors were surprisingly not annoying at all, although that might be because they had very limited dialogue and screen time. I have a feeling they'll probably be recurring characters as well, mostly because they had unique outfits and, gave names. I hate how, again, the plot gets resolved by Lucky was right about something all the time because shut up. I'm having this feeling that it's going to be a trend, but I hope it isn't. Other than that, there wasn't a whole lot of much to say about this episode. The fight scenes were really good and well shot. The full team transformation and finisher were really cool. I friggin' loved that insert. I can't wait for it to come out on a CD so I can start listening to it without sound effects in the background. So, yeah, that's basically all I have to say about this week. As always, like if you like, dislike if you don't, blah blah blah. See you guys next time.